Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how you can find the relative maxes and mins of a function using your calculator, which will turn out to be pretty useful. There's still going to be some questions on your test that require you to understand the first derivative test and finding critical values and seeing that the sign of f prime of x changes. But for many of the problems, you'll just be able to use your calculator. So this is what you do. Is you go to the y equals button, and you should get a screen like this. If you have any functions already listed, you should clear them out. What we're going to do is we're just going to look at the problem that we did last time. So last time we talked about using 4x cubed, 4, and we picked the x button from right here where it says xt theta n. So 4x cubed minus 9x squared minus 30x plus 25. And we're going to use the features of the calculator to find the relative maxima and minima. So the first thing I'll do is I'll graph this. And when you graph it, you might get something that doesn't appear very nice on the screen like this. And so what we want to do is we want to try to get the relative maxima and minima to show up on the screen. So the way I'll do that is I'll go to Window, and I'm going to change my y min to minus 50. And then, so I'll use a negative sign down here, 50. And then I'll do my y max is 50. And then I'll hit graph again. We'll see if this does any better. So it's thinking. Then we get something that looks like this. All right, so here's what we want to do. In this case right here, we have a relative max, and in this case, we have a relative min. So if I want to find this relative max, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to second and then hit the trace button here. And so above that is calc. So I get the calculate menu, and I'm going to pick number 4, which is maximum. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll my cursor here using the arrow keys to a little bit left of the maximum. Hit enter. Then I'm going to scroll a little bit to the right of the maximum and hit enter. And then it's going to say guess, and usually this guess is going to work out great. So I'm going to hit enter. And then it tells me what we found last time, which is that the critical value is at x equals minus 1. And like I told you, the relative max is going to be the y value, which in this case is 42, which is just as we found last time. So the next thing I'll do is I'll go find this over here, which is my relative min. So I'm going to again go second calc, or second trace to get to the calculate menu. And then I'm going to pick minimum. I'll hit enter. And then I'm going to scroll a little bit to the left of my minimum. So I'll be down here. And then I'm going to scroll a little bit to the right using the arrow keys. Click enter. Then I'm going to pick guess. And let me do this again. So I'm going to pick second calc. And then I'm going to pick minimum. And then I'm going to go a little bit to the left and click enter. And a little bit to the right and click enter. And then I'm going to click guess. And then it tells me my minimum is at x equals 2.4999999. So the calculator, you have to realize that it's approximating. So this is really meant to say 2.5, x equals 2.5. Which is 5 halves, which is what we found as our critical value last time. And the y value, which is our relative min, is negative 43.75. Now, sometimes you're going to find that it asks for the relative min on the tests or on the quizzes in fraction form. So if I want to figure out what minus 43.75 is in fraction form, what I'm going to do is go back to my main screen by doing second quit, and then I'm going to type in minus 43.75, and then I'm going to hit the math button, and the first selection here is what's called frac, so it's going to convert to a fraction. So I hit enter, and I'm going to hit enter again, and then it tells me that the relative min is at minus 175 over 4, which is again what we found last time. So for your quizzes, this will turn out to be very useful, and you can use this whenever you're trying to find the relative max and min when you're given a function. On your test, it'll also be useful, but there might be questions where you're not given the actual function, you're just given information about the first derivative, and from that you have to determine if there's a relative max or min. So it's still important that you understand what we did last time, but this process here should save you a lot of time.